What's going on, traders? It's your boy Matt, back at you again with another trading recap video. Today's trading session, I am up about $1,000. As a trader, my daily goal is to make about $1,000 and walk away. And today, that's exactly what I did. Right? I took the gamble out of the trade, I made my $1,000, and I walked away. And that was it. It was easy. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. Please make sure you give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and there will be a link down below for a free chat room on Discord. Now enjoy the live video. Thank you, guys. Okay, traders, let's talk about today's trading session. Now, today's trading session was a little bit slow. After hours, it was a kind of a good plays that came along. But as you guys can see right here, I am up $999.07. Right, my OCD is driving me nuts right now, right? Because my daily goal is about 1,000, and this is not 1,000, and it's just like it is what it is, though. The worst thing that can happen is me trying to trace for 3 cents and ended up the day red, right? That would be the worst case scenario. So I'm gonna walk away right there. I'm gonna leave it at that. All right, guys. And the other thing to remember is take the gambling out of the trade. I don't want to be chasing 3 cents and ended up losing a lot of money. So that would make it a gamble, right? So take the gambling out of the trade. Trade only what's available on the market. If there's money to be made, if there's a proper setup with your risk reward in play, then get in there. Don't get in. Don't trade just to make 3 cents or 30 bucks or whatever it is. Don't chase money, right? Anyway, so the first trade, we'll just go through them. I took quite a bit of trade, so we'll just go through them one by one. So the first one is LNTH. As you guys can see, this is LNTH. What happened was this was traded pretty much flat during the day. It was around $12, and then it popped after hours. A random volume came in, as you guys can see, about 50,000 shares. It just pushed it all the way from 12 all the way to 17 area. So that was a random push. I looked at the news. There was nothing significant or anything like that. It was just a random volume. Someone just bought up 50,000 shares, and they pushed it all the way to 17. I had a starter right there, had a starter short right there, around 1530, 1520 area, and then I waited. That was just a smaller, like a teaser, a smaller starter share size, and then on the backside, I added a majority of my shares, and then I held. I took some profit right there, and then I held here, and then I took up, and then I took a little bit more here. And I was wanting to hold the rest of it for this. I actually had an orders in here at 1350 to take it off at 1350, all of it. But what happened was when I see this pop, I was in another trade, so I was like, oh, I better get out of this one before it pops. And if it pops, I would reshort. So I got out here thinking it would pop and I would reshort. But with all that said, I made about $429 on this particular trade in the day. So can't really complain. The next trade that I took was KZDAI. KZDAI was okay, treated me well today. Yesterday, I think I made about 500 or 600 bucks from it, which was pretty good. In the day, I totally missed this move because I went to bed early. I actually got up after hours, so I totally missed this and a couple of other places as well. If you guys have seen YY. This was another massive drop from 97 all the way to 70 bucks. Right, that's a $30 drop. I mean, that was a beautiful short. Even that was a beautiful short, and this was a beautiful dip buy. That was again a short from a rejection of the VWAP from 83, 82 area all the way to 75. So totally missed a lot of money on that one. So that sleeping cost me about $1,000 today. All right, so let's talk about this. So what happened with this thing? So this thing went parabolic. I actually bought it pre-market. As you guys can see, I was anticipating because it did a massive move yesterday, right? So yesterday after market, it did a massive move. I shorted this and I covered it all the way up to here, and I think I made about 600 bucks or something like that from it. So today, before market open, I was thinking, okay, we're gonna see some sort of push, some sort of push to the high up to 1450. The reason why, because I'm looking at that right there at that level. So I'm thinking it would push up to that, and I would really short using that as a risk. But if it's going to push up there, I want to buy it early, right? Something else is moving, by the way. So I was thinking, I'll be able to buy this and then push it higher. So I bought, as you guys can see, I bought it right there. I bought it right there. I had a starter right there early on, around $12. and then I added right there, but it was struggling. As you guys can see, every time it pops to this 12 area, it was getting sold. So with this weakness, I'm thinking market open, we're probably not going to push, or if we push, I can get back in again. So I didn't want to risk it. So I completely got out right there for a little bit of loss. I think like 20 bucks loss. And I was right, market open, it was really weak. It dropped. But what happened was I was watching it throughout this. I was watching all of this. I was watching it thinking, okay, this is going to come back, claim view up and go higher. And it did. But what happened was I took my eyes off it for a little bit and it popped into a circuit break and hold. Right, so I totally missed this move, and I think I bought in about 700 or 800 shares into that. So, you know, it is what it is. But I saw that push. I wanted that $14 area. It pushed there. I saw that rejection, as you guys can see. I saw that weakness. I had added there. I took profit, and completely got out right there for the VWAP. It dropped a little bit further, which is a shame. And then I tried to get back there again, and then I shorted there, cover there again. But that was it, and I left it alone. I think I made about 300 bucks out of that one, so not bad. The next one that I traded was HT. So with this one, I did not really go major size on it, right? Major size on it. So pre-market here, Ross chat room was pushing it. One of the things that you guys got to really pay attention is when chat room like Ross or other chat rooms trying to chase, pump stock up. You gotta understand it's not really, an investor or a solid buyer buying it. These people are buying it to turn right back and sell it, right? So, so what happened is when chat room like Ross stopped buying this thing, right? So they keep buying. Ross himself is scooping, 30, 40,000 shares, and you have a lot of followers that are following him. I mean, if you think about it, if there's 10,000 people that are, live on YouTube and in the chat room are following him, and each buy 100 shares, and I know people scoop up 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 shares, but let's say minimum they buy 100 shares. That's about a million volume. That's about a million volume that is buying, coming up with Ross. So that's a lot of pump. Now what happened? If they're buying the top, trying to force the thing to break out, but when it doesn't break out, where do you think all of those people are going to go? They're going to turn right back and dump it, right? So that's one of the things you got to look for as a trader. I would look for him to push it. And when I start seeing the stock is, encountering some sort of resistance, that's when I start shorting, because I know when this thing doesn't break out, they're going to turn back and sell it. Now, the really shit part about this one is I only went in 300 starter share size, and I held that 300 shares. So I didn't make a lot of money on it. I held those shares, and that was it. I think I made about maybe about 300 bucks, as I re-shorted there and covered there as well. So, that was that. The next one was DNK. DNK, this one was a short here. Same scenario. Chat room Ross push. They're trying to force this thing to break out. It didn't break out. Turn back and dump it. In fact, right at that candle was Ross selling. He was trying to buy it, force it into this. Didn't go. This pullback, he bought this pullback. He says buying the dips. He actually bought this dip right here. And when it didn't break, it fails to break, he dumped it. And that's where I had a starter. It came back up. I should have added, but I was focused on something else I wanted to add. Again, this was starter share size, and I managed to cover just below VWAP. And what happened was the last shares that I was holding for a major wash, this popped. I covered right at the top because I'm thinking if it comes to the highs, I can re-short again. Right? So I didn't want to hold in something that's going to reclaim and go higher. So you got to understand that when a stock holds abnormally a certain level, it could be trapping short. So you got to be aware of that as well. So, but they ended up dumping it, and they dumped it again. They picked it back up. So this right here was totally trapping short and shook them out. Not the major move. It went over the highs after market. That would have been a really nice short as well. But I didn't trade it, unfortunately. 10K, so I think I made about $150, $130 out of that trade. So next one is MIO. So I really wanted to trade MIO today, but I didn't. As you guys can see, I had a really good short starter right there at 46, but I didn't hold. I didn't want to hold this into the open. So I covered it pretty quick, but it dropped to $42. Had another starter. Yeah, but that was it. The other one is CRT. CRT again after our pusher pushed into that, shorted, covered quick because this thing did not follow through. So now, two things to think about. After our place, there's two kind of stocks that are traded after our. The first ones are, just a random buy. They pop and then they get, they get dropped, right? An example of that would be LNTH, right? LNTH is an example of that. Abnormal buy. There's no volume following through this thing. There's just one buyer and then the rest is a seller. So this makes this kind of trades would make a really good short, right? So they get popped and they get dropped because there's no follow through. There's no volume to back this up to push it higher. So this one is not a gapper. It's not going to be tomorrow's gapper. No one will be looking at it tomorrow, right? But if you guys look at SONO right here, this kind of stocks, as you guys can see, totally different. So they get pushed up with the same size, about 100,000 or 50,000 shares, buys it up. But when it tries to fall, what happens is now the volume comes in and backs it up. You see, this is follow through. So whenever it tries to fall, whereas the other one, LNTH, totally crumbled, this one here tries to fall, it gets a backing, a lot of volume comes in and they keep buying it up. Now with this kind of trade, if you're short, you got to be able to flip to long because these are really good long trades because they have backings and you put in a set risk level and then you can buy this. So I shorted there, and that covered. As you guys can see, I made about 20 bucks or something like that on it. But the major thing out of this trade is probably that I did not flip long into that. So that would have made a really nice long play. But I was short LNTH and I was focused on that one. So I pretty much, when this didn't work, I cut this one and I focused on LNTH. And then after LNTH was done, I came back to this. But as you guys can see, every dip got bought up. Every dip. I mean, if you bought this at any time into this, you would have been in the money. Right? So every dip got bought up. I tried to short this thinking this was the high, but every time it drops, look at this drop. Follow through, gets bought up. So this is how you know there's a backing. Now the reason why they do that is because LNTH, no one is going to look at that stock tomorrow. But this one is going to be tomorrow's gapper, right? So people would be looking at it. Look, let's say you're a company and you want to raise, right? You want to raise. The easiest way to do that is, first thing, you need a higher price. And the second thing you need is volume, right? You need a higher price and volume. The easiest way to do that is you want to push it. If you're going to push it, you want to push it after market because it's not going to require you a lot of volume to push it. If you do it during the daytime, there's going to be a lot of traders that's going to try to short it and stuff like that. But after hours, a lot of traders are gone. So they push this thing with the minimal amount of volume. They buy this thing up, but they won't let it fall because they want this thing to stay up. Tomorrow, new traders will come. You'll look at it. This is great. It looks like it wants to go higher. So the people buying it, they dump their ATMs, which is offerings, into that kind of volume. So tomorrow's gapper, you'll find out like this. Similar thing with CIIC, right? Still pushing after hours, as you guys can see. This thing went parabolic, totally missed display, but it came back up, still pushing. You know what I mean? From 11, it's at 16 now. Now a lot of people will be looking at this to play tomorrow. So that's one of the things. Now let's get into the losing trades. KZDIA, as you guys can see, I lost twice on it, 200 bucks, and I'll show you those trades. They were right. This one right here, actually got twice. I shorted the bottom and I covered the top, and I didn't want to stay patient because this thing reminded me of what do we see in this, where you see a lot of chop out of nowhere, voop, volume, right? A lot of chop out of nowhere, boom, volume like that. This kind of move, this kind of setup reminds me of APVO. If you guys remember APVO, and I'll show it to you guys. So right here, APVO. If you guys remember APVO when it was around $15, look at that. Out of nowhere, random volume buys it up. It drops again, and then pushes higher, right? That was in the second day. Chop, random volume picks it up, right? And then same thing here, random volume picks it up. So APVO was traded similar, something like this. So when this was happening, I was really cautious. You know, volume came out of nowhere, pushed up. Even yesterday after market, I mean, if you guys have seen yesterday after market, same thing, random volume pushes it up, random volume pulls back down, drops, random volume pulls back down, drops, random volume. So I didn't want to short this thing and get stuck on something, you know, going $3, $4 against me. So for that reason, I was pretty cautious into cutting it. So I was down about 200 bucks on that. SONO. These are the trades. Anyway, guys, thank you so much. I really appreciate you watching this video. Make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. Give it a thumbs up. Make sure you leave a comment below as well if you learned anything from it, or if there's something you want me to improve as a trader. That would be pretty good as well. And there will be a link down below for my free Discord chat room that I have. If you want guys pop in, say hello. We share a lot of trading resources and also trading ideas. Thank you so much, guys. I just enjoyed the live trading footage. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the live trading part of my videos. As you guys can see, I am in a trade at the moment, AHT. I am in 300 shares with an average of $6 area. Now, the ideal trade for me, this would be market open, a push to the pre-market high, and I'll add. This is just a starter share size, but I don't want to be adding out at a lower price because then I'll compromise my average. Now, the reason why I had a starter, I'm just waiting for market to open. The reason why I had a starter is because, Ross was buying this thing pre-market. Ross and his minions, no offense to anybody, but, they were buying this thing, trying to force the price higher. But when the price is not going higher, I mean, Russ himself was scooping up, 30, 40,000 shares. And let's say if he has, 10,000 followers on YouTube and in the chat rooms, and all of them will buy, let's say, 100 shares, that's a million volume, right? A million shares. Now, when all that million shares wanting this stock to go higher, but it doesn't, where do you think they're going to go? They're going to turn right back and turn into sellers. So that's why I had a starter, because they were buying into it, but the price wasn't going higher. As you guys can see, I'm up about almost 200 bucks on it. I took 100 shares profit right here because of that support level area. But I want to hold this and see what it does. But if I see some base in action or anything like that, I want to take it off so that, if it comes higher to the open area, I can reshort again. But if I see some base in action, it looks like it's going to perk up, I want to take it. So I'm taking in profit as it's dropping, as it's giving it to me. So I'm only holding at the moment about, about 100 shares. So which is pretty good. And let's see where this 100 shares would go, right? Just fast forward a little bit here. As you guys can see, it's dropped to the 530 area. I'm completely out of that position for about a $200 gain. It's a shame it didn't give me the ad I wanted to, but that's all right. Now, the next trade that I'm looking at was DNK. Same thing. Ross was pushing this thing from 410 to 480. He pushed it, and then it had 1 minute pullback. He bought the bottom of that pullback, but on the second minute, when it didn't break out, he's turned into seller. So I'm listening to that, and I have a starter here, 300 shares as well. The ideal thing would be I wanted this to push to the 510 area so I can re-add, but it's really not giving me the re-add. So one of the things that I'm really focusing on is if you have a certain buyers, this is an abnormal kind of buyers because this it's just like chart room pump, right? They're pumping it. They're not a long-term investor or anything like that. When the stock price doesn't go anywhere, when the stock starts to encounter resistant levels, all of that volume would turn back and turn into sellers. Fast forward here, as you guys can see, I took in half. I locked in. I am up $321 on a day. Now I'm only holding half of the position. But right here, I really want to be careful here because I'm seeing a base in here at 410, 420 area. It's finding some supports. So if it looks like it's base in here and bounce from the view up, wants to go higher over the pre-market high, I want to cut my losses, right? So this is where you got to be cautious about being trapped as a short seller, because if something like this is basing with low volume, as you guys can see, but the price is not dropping with low volume, the natural price action would be on low volume. Stock price should start to fall down or keep the trend. If it's going down, should keep the trend, right? But in this kind of trade with low volume, after a massive, you would expect to fall down, but when it doesn't, you got to get out. So I'm thinking it's coming out over the highs. I want to get out here. I would be able to reshort higher. I was holding only 100 shares anyway. But I'm also in another position in HT. I'm shorted. I shorted 300 shares from 5.54 area. So I'm out of it. Now the mistake that I made in here is I didn't get back in again when I see it was just a false push right here. You see that weakness, that pullback? It should have broke, got aggressive, because a lot of people would come to buy this for the breakout, but when it didn't, I should have added. But this is HT again, the second short, 300 short here from 54 area. I want to be taking profit into the support level. locked in half. I'm looking at that area, and I want to see how it's gonna do with the rest. If it looks like it's basing this support as well, I want to take it in. So I'm completely out of that. I am up $343 on a day. You don't really need a major size to make money on the stock market. If you're looking to make $1,000 or $500 a day, you're not looking at a major size. You can go 300, 400 shares and still be able to make that. Now the next one that I'm looking at was KZDIA. I made about $500 or $600 yesterday from it in that parabolic move. I'm looking at the same area, that 14 area to short into. I'm looking at weaknesses. I actually bought this pre-market, but I got out because it didn't look strong. Now I pushed this thing. I have a starter share size here, 300 shares from 1363 area, right? So, and I want this thing to drop to the 1250, possibly to the VWAP area is what I'm looking for. I'm staying patient. I want to lock it into this drop. Boom, I missed it. I was too late. Reacted way too late. So, I missed that view up drop. So I'll put up a bit higher, cover a little bit there. Now I'm gonna wait for the rest of it. As you guys can see, I am up $550 on the day right now. Only took a couple of trades. So now with the rest of the shares, again, this one I wanted it to go higher so I can re-add, but it didn't give me the add. So one of the things that I do not do, I'm completely out of it. I am up $631 on the day. One of the things that I don't want to do is that I don't want to be chasing, as a short seller, I want to be shorting the highs. I don't want to be shorting the lows. I don't want to be shorting, chasing the stock as it's falling down, because if it bounces up, then I'm in a world of hurt. You know what I mean? I compromise my average, and now I have a bigger share size. So, a trade that could have been a winner, you turned it into a loser. So you got to make sure you're taking a profit, unless it's something that you're looking at a bigger range. You're anticipating this thing could fall $10. It has a lot of room, and you can short, and you still have a lot of room you can add into that. But when you're adding, make sure your risk level, your stop losses come lower as well. Anyway, in this case, the DIA, I ended up losing 200 shares after this. I didn't record it, but I gave back $200, and then what I did was I went to bed, and I got up. I think near market close, I got up, came back, and made more money. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. There is a link down below for a free chat that I have on Discord. Come in, say hello, and we discuss a lot of things related to trading. Thank you so much, guys. I appreciate it. Bye.